We are discussing chapter 2 and we covered up to verse number 38. Just to quickly do a recap. So the whole first chapter was Arjuna's various arguments on why he does not want to fight. So basically all these Kauravas and Pandavas have assembled in Kurukshetra for a war to decide who will be the future ruler of the world. And after coming there, Arjuna all of a sudden was in a very disturbed emotional state because he was confused about his duty. He wasn't sure whether it is right to fight or not. So at this time, his mind is overwhelmed with various thoughts. So he would speak various reasons on why he does not want to fight. The first reason was compassion. He is very compassionate. He does not want to kill his own relatives for the sake of winning the kingdom. And then he says loss of enjoyment. What is the joy in killing our own relatives? And when we do that, what is the point? With whom do we enjoy all the opulences that we win with this war? So that is loss of enjoyment. And then he says sinful reactions. If we kill our own relatives, even though those people are aggressors, we will be overcome by sinful reactions because we are killing our own relatives. And some of the Shastras say that one should never attack one's own relatives. And then he was totally confused. And then, other reason he gives is loss of religion, because when all the men in the world are killed, there will be a lot of irreligion that will prosper in the country. So there will be no people to protect the women and the children. So there will be a lot of, and there will be some miscreants who would misuse the opportunity and generate Varna Shankaras, means unwanted children. And then finally he was indecisive about whether he should really fight or not. So these are the various reasons. The last reason was basically given in this chapter, the first 7 slokas, where Arjuna says, I am so confused. In the 7th verse, he says, I'm bewildered. Apanya dosha. This is the turning point of the Bhagavad Gita. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So until now, he was acting in the capacity of a friend. Arjuna and Krishna, they are like friends. This is the first time Arjuna was so confused. He was very clear that he needs a direction from a guru, a teacher. Now he accepts Krishna as his guru and asks him to be accepted as a disciple and a surrendered soul, and asks for instructions. And this is when Krishna would laugh at him, because suddenly a friend has turned into a disciple. At the turn of events, Krishna would mildly smile and he would start instructing, breaking each of the misunderstanding of Arjuna, beginning with compassion. The compassion argument that Arjuna was giving was for the sake of the body. So Krishna would talk about the real person. The real person is not this body. The real person is the soul. So he would analyze various aspects of the soul, various characteristics of the soul. He would describe at length how the soul is eternal, individual, and it cannot be withered, it cannot be moistened by water. There's so many characteristics that were described about the soul, and how it is Satchidananda, eternally blissful. So all the description was given. I will not go in again further. Yeah, so he would argue, Krishna would clarify from the perspective of, this is called Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means, Sankhya literally means counting, numbers. Sankhya, word Sankhya is actually derived from Sankhya, word Sankhya from in Sanskrit. That basically helps us analyze the elements of this world. If you analyze any element, you will lose attraction to it. For example, one has say fascination for a particular sweet, say gulab jamun, right? You might like gulab jamun, but if you decompose gulab jamun, what is there? It is some atta, it is some oil, it is some sugar, and nicely fried in fire, and with ghee, mixed with ghee and sugar syrup. It becomes very tasty. Nobody is attracted to atta, nobody is attracted to oil, nobody is attracted to sugar individually. But when it is composed in a certain fashion, a specific form would come out, and when that form is seen by us, we'll be very much attracted, isn't it? That's what happens in this world. We are only attracted to the forms, not to the substance behind it, isn't it? That's how the world works. But through Sankhya, one goes to decipher behind the element, the substance behind the elements, the native elements. Uh, the substance behind the forms. When you go from form to the substance, you naturally lose fascination for the substance, for the material, for the object. So that is what is Jnana Yoga is all about. Jnana Yoga means you decipher things and see things in totality, into two, and thereby lose any attraction that is, that has come about through uh, external forms, right? So this particular wisdom that Krishna spoke about, the core essence is the soul and everything else is just a covering, that is actually the path of jnana, or the path of Sankhya. Both are synonymous. That way we understand what's the core, the core of each individual. Sometimes we have friends, sometimes we have enemies, but actually who is a friend, who is an enemy, right? There is no real friend or real enemy. All of us are like in a drama, right? Temporarily coming together and playing this drama, and somebody gets too rich, like Jeff Bezos got too rich, but it's a drama, it's going to end soon, and he's like anybody else. He becomes, after a matter of 50 years, he's zero again, isn't it? Meaning he leaves this body. As soon as he leaves the body, all the opulence that he left behind is for the next generation. That's it. It's like a staged drama, and somebody is rich, somebody is poor, somebody is CEO, somebody is, beggar. But as soon as the drama is collapsed, your role is done. That's it. You're no more participant in the drama. So this whole world works like that. So this concept basically helps us to go beyond just um, these concepts help us to go beyond just simply external forms and relations, and to see what's the real essence behind all of this. Okay, but we do have to do our duties as part of this. Yeah, so we'll discuss about this later. Okay, so that's in essence, but primarily it is discussed about the soul aspect of the jiva. And Krishna gives various reasons Let's go to the today's verse. Text 38. Yeah. Now here in 37, you know, Arjuna at one point, as I said, right, Arjuna was saying that if I participate in this battle and win, I'm still a loser. Either I win or I lose, I'm a loser. It's a lose-lose scenario. In 37, Lord Krishna speaks from Karma Kanda perspective. Karma Kanda. So there is the scriptures are a wholesome wisdom. It has too many aspects and it caters to various people of various levels of consciousness. It's not that the whole of Vedas is always catering to the transcendentalists who are completely spiritual in nature. No, it caters to people who are even materially inclined but want to follow Vedic path. It's called Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda, it literally means Vedas have this phenomenal wisdom. Actually, 90% of Vedas would contain things like you perform this puja, you get this result. If you want to get nice children, worship Mother Parvati. If you want a nice husband, you worship Lord Shiva. If you want money, you worship this particular Lakshmi, do this kind of a Lakshmi puja, or it has uh, it caters to all levels of people. It does not just cater to the people who are speaking spiritual emancipation or liberation from this world. Okay, so this verse specifically talks at the level of karma kanda. Forget about highest spiritual truth. Even if you are talking from karma kanda means you do this, you get this benefit. That kind of level. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. So Krishna is speaking here. You're not a lose-lose. You are not in a lose-lose situation. Actually, you are in a win-win situation. You will be killed. If you get killed, where are you heading up? You are heading to heavenly planets and enjoy there. Or if you win, you're going to win the earthly kingdom, and so anyway, that's good for you. You're only doing your duty. So get up with determination and fight. Now Krishna would take this to the one level up to karma yoga. So there are these are two different karma kanda and karma yoga. Karma kanda is basically at the level where you consider your profit in what you do and perform the action. Of course, what happens to them? You perform certain puja, you get the good karma, and so you attain the good results and enjoy the fruits. But again, that's not liberating. Karma kanda is not liberating. Karma yoga is liberating. So now Krishna takes one level up and talks from karma yoga level. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujnasya sva naivam papam avapsyasi. Do thou for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain. Labha labho, sukha dukkha. These two. These are dualities of this word. Victory or defeat. And by doing so, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. You will never incur sin. So when your consciousness is such that you are not considering, this is the important word, dualities like, oh, I'm going to become happy by doing this, or I'm going to be sad by doing this, or I'm going to get the kingdom, or I'm going to lose the kingdom, or I'm going to win, I'm going to lose. So none of these dualities do you consider when you perform at the level of karma yoga? Karma yoga is what? You perform your duty because it is your duty. Taking care of family is your duty, and so you do it. Not because your child says thank you mom, thank you dad, or it's not for any reason. You don't expect anything. You just give yourself, because that is duty, and duty purifies the jiva. So this is talking at the level of karma yoga. Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So when you do everything for God, that becomes transcendental consciousness. It's actually even a little higher. When I talked here, I said it is for the duty. That's what Krishna stopped it. But Prabhupada here is explaining to the next level, where you do it not out of only duty, but the sake of God, for the sake of God. When you perform like that, that is transcendental consciousness. And when you do it with that understanding, you will not incur any sin. There is no sin that touches you because you are completely in harmony with God. You're fully aware in your consciousness that I am doing this for the sake of God. God has put me, these children, this wife, this spouse, whoever, or these parents in my care, and I as a child, or I as a son or a daughter, or I as a father or mother, or I as a husband or wife, I do my duty. These are all children of God, and so I take care of them with that consciousness. So when you do like that, when you are relating everybody in your relation with God and act accordingly, that is called transcendental consciousness. So when you do that, none of the reactions will be there for your actions. Any questions on this? Yeah, it's clear then. So, but he who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. If one performs his actions for his own gratification, right, means, oh, I enjoy this, and so I will do it, or I enjoy that, or I don't like that, so I won't do it. Even though it is your duty, you don't want to do it because you don't like it. What happens with that? You will get reaction, right? Sometimes we can see if you become too lazy at work, you get reaction. You don't get the promotion, or you don't get salary, or whatever. So there will be reaction either in this world or in the next. But you perform your duty sincerely, everything as service to God, that is perfect. There is no reaction to it. This is the next level, meaning, but he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness or God consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he is a debtor to anyone, as in the ordinary course of activities. It is said, Devarshi bhutatta ninam pitrinam naking karonayam ninicha rajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihricha kartam. Anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, not the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse. The matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. So this is interesting. So we in this world, we breathe air, we drink water, we eat food. All these things, who are giving us? Somebody is arranging, right? We may not know who that personality is. For example, we are using the road, and so what do we do for that? We pay taxes, so that government will fund the roads again for us, right? For our own sake. So there is a tax system even in the universal judgment. So we are indebted to the great rishis who have given the wonderful scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, right? We are passed down all this wisdom. We are indebted to our parents because they have raised us, educated us, taken care of us in our times of need and dependency. So many people have helped. We are indebted to our teachers because they have trained us from our young age. Today we are here because there is some teacher's sacrifice, isn't it? Without that, we are not here. We are indebted to our forefathers. We are here today because the forefathers have taken care of their children, and so ultimately we are here. They have given us the heritage. So we are indebted to so many people in this world. So many people in this world. We cannot say, "Oh, I'm independent. I have no indebtedness to anyone." And so we need to remember in gratitude and you know respect them and honor them and serve them if possible. You know, offer oblations to our forefathers, or worship the demigods. We have to do all of that as a duty. But for one who has surrendered to Krishna or God, he is not obliged to do any of this, because by surrendering to Krishna, we are actually surrendering to the root. It's like surrendering to or watering the root. When you water the root, what happens? The entire tree gets nourished. So everybody, all the demigods, sages, people in general, kinsmen, forefathers, everybody would be happy, satisfied when we serve God, making God as our center of life. So that is the meaning of this verse. 39. Esha te bihita sankhye buddhir yoge to imam shrinu buddhya yukto yaya pardha karma bandham prahasyasi. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. Karma Yoga, working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. If we want to be relieved from the bondage of the work we do, we need to at least perform on the platform of Karma Yoga, or working without fruitive results. So this initially it describes about the word Sankhya, which we discussed a while ago. And yoga is Indriya Samyama, which is controlling the senses. Arjuna's proposal to not fight was based on sense gratification, because he is thinking in terms of his own happiness and distress. Forgetting his prime duty, he wanted to cease fighting because he thought that by not killing his relatives and kinsmen, he would be happier than by enjoying the kingdom after conquering his cousins and brothers and the sons of Dhritarashtra. In both ways, the basic principles were for sense gratification. So basically, he was thinking in terms of his own sense gratification. So further explained here in this purport here. So Prabhupada explains about uh, Sankhya Yoga a little bit, which we already discussed. So there are Sankhya Yoga is one of the Shad Darshanas. There are 6 philosophical systems in Vedas. One of them is Sankhya, and it was proposed by Kapila Muni. And again, when we speak of Kapila Muni, there are actually 2 Kapilas. One is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other was an atheistic Kapila. Both talked about Sankhya, so it is very confusing. Many people refer to the second one, the imposter Sankhya, imposter Kapila, who actually he also talks about analyzing the matter, but at the same time he does not consider God as an element, or God as the necessity of existence of God. He doesn't accept that. So Prabhupada here clarifies that actually the Sankhya philosophy was, the one that is discussed by Krishna here was, is something that is very close to what the real Kapila, who is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not the imposter Kapila, who is the other one who actually taught the atheistic philosophy. Yeah. So further description, you can all read this to get a better understanding of Sankhya Yoga. Yeah. Now moving on to the next verse. So now Krishna has said that, now in the next few verses, Krishna is going to differentiate the difference between the difference between Karma Yoga and Karma Kanda, and propose that Karma Yoga is better than Karma Kanda. What is Karma Kanda? I already discussed. Karma Kanda means Vedas have 90% of the Vedas is filled with fruitive activities. Fruitive activities means you perform this puja, you get this benefit. Why Vedas have 90% of that wisdom? Anybody wants to answer? Anybody wants to guess why the Vedas have 90% of knowledge focused on Karma Kanda, not Karma Yoga? Mostly it is filled with pujas only. All the, much of the Vedas is filled with appeasing demigods. Appeasing demigods means you worship this demigod, you get this benefit. Nitin Prabhu, you want to say something?
Prabhu, my understanding is as the Karmakanda, we offer offerings to demigods, and that is to acquire the good karmas.
Correct.
As well as offering goes to demigod to empower them to do the good. So we please the demigod, and they do their service at their best as well. And I also heard that they get also more power by our offering.
Yeah, that is true. The real reason why Vedas have 90% of content basically focused on Karma Kanda is because why the jivas are in this world, first of all of us are in this world for what? What is the real reason we are all here?
To satisfy our lusty desires.
Yes, we are here to enjoy sense gratification. We want to, with our eyes, see the beautiful things, with our mouth, eat the nicest foods, with our skin, touch the most softest things. Basically, we want to gratify our senses. That is the reason we exist in this world. Otherwise, we would be in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha already. We are all in this world attracted to sense gratification. And so, Vedas is like a shop. What does a shop have? Shop has all the things that people in need, people in general need. It has all the facilities to buy whatever they want, isn't it? So Vedas primarily cater to the wisdom to help satisfy the desires of the conditioned jivas in the world in a legitimate way. When you follow Vedas, ultimately you would come to God. Understand the higher purpose of life. But in the beginning, you may not be attracted to the higher purpose. You may be just attracted to, uh, to enjoy the fruits of your actions, right? So you would go by that. Because people in this world are baddha jivas. Baddha jiva means they're here, they're already, they just want to enjoy their senses. That's the real purpose. The jivas are here. Until they get liberated, their mindset is, I'm here to enjoy this world. So when they are with that mindset, so, Vedas would provide the opportunity to fulfill those desires in a legitimate way, meaning, okay, God knows that we all desire to enjoy. As his children, he provided the Vedas to get those desires fulfilled through legitimate means. You perform puja and enjoy this. Instead of trying to work, instead of trying to depending on your own strength, take advantage of Vedic wisdom and enjoy the fruits. But that is not the highest purpose of Vedas. The purpose of Vedas is actually to redirect us to God. What happens when you enjoy the fruits of these, the material world? Ultimately, one gets frustrated. Nobody is happy. Even after becoming the richest person, do you think the richest person is the happiest person? Actually, they are the most stressed out people. They think, everybody wants to become happy, and they, for whatever reason, they start thinking, maybe I should get very rich and then I'll be happy. That's what the richest people have done. And they got all the money they wanted. But something is elusive. Something is missing because they haven't understood that they are actually really soul. And until the soul gets satisfied, they cannot be really happy. The real happiness is in satisfying the soul. That point is not clear. Until that point comes to our clarity, it becomes very clear for us. Whatever we may, try to gratify our senses, when a person becomes extremely rich, where do you think he becomes happy at? He gets happy at the ego level. Ego level means, oh, I'm better than everyone. I'm the richest man. Everybody respects me because I'm rich. That is called egoistic satisfaction. Actually, by becoming the richest person, does his capacity to enjoy becomes better? No. Even if a person who earns only at $10 a day, the amount of happiness is very much almost at a physical level almost same. If he is able to eat food, he is able to sleep on the bed, just because you become the richest person doesn't mean that you can have 10,000 wives to enjoy. It doesn't work like that. Your body is still limiting you. Your body is the limiting ground. It's going to limit your happiness in terms of what it can gratify. So a sober person understands actually by just increasing at a material level, the gratification at a material level, I'll not become really happy. The happiness is still elusive to the richest people or the most famous people. Even we see that, a lot of these famous billionaires sometimes do, uh, they perform a suicide act, or they get, psychologically sick, because they expect everybody to respect them, to recognize them. If they don't get it, they don't feel like living anymore. They can't lose their glamour, because they were respected for their glamour. As soon as the world also works like that, they put somebody in the stage for some time. They put, say, Sachin Tendulkar for some time. For 10 years, he was the king of the cricket game, right? Now he is replaced by maybe somebody else, Kohli or whoever is the best player now. I don't know. Um, it changes. The same respect, the same won't be available, and people won't be satisfied as they were before, because they were expecting that kind of a happiness to be happy. Uh, so this world is like that. You try to satisfy yourself at various levels, uh, not at the soul, whether it is at ego or whether it is at a mental level or at a physical level. Everything is going to limit you, and it's going to be very flickering and temporary. For example, you work so hard for years, and say you got you got into a best college, right? Say MIT or something. Do you think your happiness is going to remain forever like that? Once you get it, you will be happy, but within a few months, it's a new normal. You buy the best car, within a few days it becomes new normal. If you don't have it, you will feel. Now once you have it, the problem becomes that once you don't have it, you will you will be in trouble. So 10 years back, none of us know about mobile phone, right? We were all living fine. Now, how many times are you looking at the mobile phone? How much time are you spending on mobile phone, right? Now it became a new normal, right? So this world is like that. I mean, the more things you add to your life, the more distractions only.
Yeah.
So it's not really going to give you any uh, satisfaction on a permanent basis. It was a fascination in the beginning to use a mobile phone, to call, to use video. All these things were fascination, but now it becomes a need, basic need. The world has made the living standard in such a way that now mobile phone is a basic need, right?
Yes, Prabhu. This lusty desire is like a spider web, is what I heard.
Yeah, once you get in, you can't get out. It's a very
And
good
you
point.
keep fulfilling one, and you add another 10, and then
Mhm.
yes, you're
Yeah,
right.
it doesn't mean that you don't want to use the phone at all.
Yes.
Um, it's not like that. I mean, we still use it, but understand that these are all not the most important things. So that kind of a focus is needed in our mind. We need to have the discrimination. So that's what this wisdom is going to help us with. Yeah. So this is a beautiful verse. Let's read this and end. Neha Bikram nasosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Abhikrama means endeavor. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So he's talking about karma yoga. When one performs actions without the desire to enjoy the fruits of the action, the result of such action, karma yoga, is that there is no loss or diminution, and a little spiritual advancement will protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the most dangerous type of fear? The most dangerous type of fear is losing human body in the next life. For example, you are now human being. In the next life, you can become an animal, right? It's possible. We can become an ant, we can become anything for that matter, based on what our karma gives us. But if somebody makes a little progress in spiritual path, a little progress, now we all started chanting the holy name. So when you chant the holy name on a regular basis, it is mentioned that you would at least are bestowed with a human body in next life. Just to inform you. So I was talking about becoming the richest person, right? What happens after this life? If suppose Jeff Bezos dies, and what happens to him? If suppose he was thinking about his palace just before dying, he may become a dog in the palace in the next life because he was attached to that, and in the next life he may not have enough karma to become rich or have a human body because he didn't make any spiritual progress. He might become a dog in the same house next life because he was attached. So that's how life works. But for one who makes even a little progress in spiritual path, he will be relieved of the most dangerous type of fear, which is to again take birth in this world, or at least not having human body in the next life. So how it works, right? So if you make say 20% progress spiritually, meaning out of 100, say there is 100% of effort needed to achieve liberation, and you made say 20% progress in this life. In the next life, you're going to start with the 21st%. Unlike anything material, in the material life, the material aspect of life will be zero when you start your fresh life. Jeff Bezos dies, he starts, even if he gets human body, his riches are zero in the next life, isn't it? That's a fact of life. We know that it's just a temporary thing that he has. So, but what about us? Say you are chanting every single day and you're unknowingly you're making a tremendous spiritual progress on a daily basis. And when we pass away from this world, say you made certain progress, a 30% progress. In the next life, you can start with 31st%. Because we see, I have seen in my own life, I have seen friends who started with me in Krishna consciousness, but I can clearly see they are far ahead of me, far ahead of me. Because, and I have seen people who are far lower also, because they are not very serious also in taking spiritual path seriously. And some people may finish their 100% in this life. It's just, you can be a householder, you can be taking care of your family, still you can perfect your life in this very life through perfect chanting. You can achieve liberation in this very life. That is also mentioned in the scriptures. So anything is possible, but the point is that any progress that one makes on a spiritual base, on the spiritual ground, because spirituality is eternality, any spiritual progress is also eternal. It is like a bank balance for the spirit soul. So the purification that the soul goes through would stay put in its next life after this current life. So that's the point this verse is talking about. A little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. See, all of you have started this journey, a spiritual journey, and now you're every week you are coming and hearing to the classes, learning some new wisdom, and now you also started in a small way chanting the holy name. You are making a tremendous progress in spiritually. And this step is unique in this one lifetime. You may have had millions and millions of lifetimes before, and you might have already made some progress. We don't know. You might be more advanced than me. It's possible. But anyway, you again started now. You started learning, and now you started chanting. Imagine the amount of progress you are making on a daily basis. And Krishna is, mentioning and promising here that you will be protected from the most dangerous type of fear, which is to again, to go down to lower species of life. Okay, so stay put in this path, continue your journey of this spiritual journey that you started. It's mentioned that it takes millions of lives for one to actually start the spiritual journey. So what you have taken is not an ordinary thing, it's an extraordinary thing. Believe me in that, because when I started I didn't believe like that, but over a period of time I could realize that. Now I've been chanting every single day for about 16 years now. Every single day, not a single day did I miss. Yeah, let's quickly read this purport. Activity in Krishna consciousness, or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification, is the highest transcendental quality of work. When I say Krishna, it is basically referring to God. You can replace the word. If you are not, initially you may not be so attached to Krishna. So you can replace the word Krishna with God. Activity in God consciousness, or acting for the benefit of God without expectation of sense gratification, is the highest transcendental quality of work. Basically, that is Karma Yoga. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed, otherwise the whole attempt becomes a failure. Right? If you started building a hospital or something, if you stop in the middle, that's it. It is, your progress is not counted. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. If suppose his work is not fully done, doesn't matter. He can come back in next life and continue from there. Yeah. So 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. Yeah. So the example of Azamila is given. Azamila, the story of Azamila, he was completely a sense gratifier. He was enjoying with a prostitute. But luckily, towards the end of his life, for once he remembers Narayana before ending his life. I mean, this is a very special case. We can't expect the same kind of results. Just by chanting, he would be protected from the wrath, of ending up in hell. So that's what is mentioned. So you can read this part. So I will end here. It's already 6:15 here. We'll start with verse 41 in the next class. Any questions? So I have a question from Aranya Mataji. Mentioned about a few offenses we should not commit while chanting. Can we please talk about this in one of the classes? Yeah, it's a big topic. Yeah, we will talk. Yeah, let's just.
Prabhu, I have one question.
Mhm.
Now you explain about that we have different yoga systems, and 90% of Vedas are covered with the Karma Kanda, and Krishna starts with Karma Kanda section initially. So now when Krishna is going to end with eventually Bhakti Yoga at some point, but now Krishna specifically talks about Karma Kanda to Arjun on his condition. So I'm still confused why he would not go with the Karma Yoga section and talk about Karma Kanda. Maybe I was not clear on that part.
So Krishna is giving various levels of understanding. Just like a teacher, when he explains, he would tell both good and bad, and would let the student choose the option. He has to talk about all the aspects. So Krishna is talking in totality, in what all exists, giving an overview of everything that is possible. So here, what Krishna in this section is doing is he's talking about Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga, and he's comparing and contrasting both, and actually encouraging. Towards the end, we would see that he would encourage Arjuna to take up Karma Yoga, and actually he would ultimately take to the next level. He's going to talk about various levels, because people need to understand in contrast. That's when people get the concept clear, right? So Krishna talks at various levels. In next chapters also we'll hear from Dhyana Yoga perspective. Yeah, various aspects are talked. That would give the student a lot more clarity on what is right, discrimination on what is the best thing. Yeah, he could have directly gone to Karma Yoga, but
Yeah.
that would not be that would not be very clear for
Yeah,
Arjuna.
putting the complete picture. Okay, got it.
The
On
big
the
picture
yoga
is not
system.
clear, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very.
So he's like a teacher, a teacher would, because in the mind of student, he may not have clarity on everything very well. So he's going to clarify every aspect of yoga and compare and contrast.
So, Prabhu, is this also? I'm just thinking in general that who is reading Bhagavad Gita, they can also see Bhagavad Gita as a karma kanda also, or they usually should not, from the way I have read. But I'm just saying that consciousness also different for different people, where they want to only extract some part what they like.
Yeah, it is there, but one who studies in totality understands the full purpose. Is like, even in medicine also, any subject you take, there will be comparison and contrast of various aspects. That is how a subject deals with the subject, right? The author deals with the subject. Yeah, so all the aspects are given. Some people can take some aspect and try to focus on that single aspect, but one who understands in totality understands the full purport behind everything.
Yeah.
That yeah.
That's thank you for explanation.
Yeah. Any other questions? So anybody started reading Gita book? Like spending like few minutes every day reading one or two slokas on what we already covered. Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'm reading but on and off. Like I read one day and then one day I miss, but I'm trying to throughout the week, Prabhuji.
Sure. Yeah. Little bit of reading would reinforce what we are studying in the class over the week. Otherwise, these ideas would run out of our mind, and it won't stick together. So I'm thinking, you can tell me if you like it or not. I'm thinking that we can have some simple quizzes, very simple quizzes on say few verses. If you read even for 15 minutes, you should be able to get an idea or answer of them. Can we do that, like say once in a while, end of the chapter, or what do you all think? Anybody? End of the chapter, or even I can give you, okay, read these 5 verses. I'll ask some questions, and you can share your understanding, and then we can discuss. That way, that becomes a little of a forcing function for us to read the material. That helps us our own, our own. Otherwise, generally the reason for having exams in our education system, what is the real reason? The reason is that we make some endeavor to study it, and thereby we grasp the content. If you are not ready at this point, we can reopen this topic after a few chapters. But feel free to tell me if you want to have such a thing. Generally, we start after 4th chapter. Students become a little more serious. Concept becomes a little more clear. After 4th chapter, we generally begin something like a 10 minutes of reading on a daily basis. That makes it like a daily routine for the students, and it becomes a very interesting journey when you read, and we discuss some questions, and I ask some questions, one of you can answer, or I can ask, put a quiz overall for everyone. Such things would make us it makes us a little bit of a forcing function to read a little bit. I can do it again after 4th chapter, but if you want, we can do it right now also. Let me know what you think. Okay?
Sure.
Prabhu, starting with some multiple choice would be good starting point at this stage, maybe.
Yeah.
Some question is multiple choices just helps us attracts, though we go wrong, then we can think about it. Something, easier. Yeah. But I like that.
Sure. How about doing this? You can all read introduction, first 2 or 3 pages. Let's put 3 pages next week, and we'll have some very simple quiz around that with multiple choice. Just first 3 pages of introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Ganesh Prabhu and Sagar Prabhu, what all you all think? By the way, if you are time constrained at this point, we can always come back. I'm just proposing some idea. So this is the.
I started reading Bhagavad Gita, Prabhu. I am almost, 2nd chapter, 40th verse. I already read till that verse.
Very nice, very nice. So these are all prayers. So you can read from this part. So, by the way, see here, like Nitin Prabhu said. So this is the mantra we chant before chanting this 108 times. So you can read from here, 1, 2nd paragraph, 3rd, 4th, 5th, Arjuna Vacha, up to Arjuna Vacha, 6 paragraphs. 7, 8. Up to this, can you all read?
Sure.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Let me copy paste the whole thing and paste it in your WhatsApp message. I hope it's not too long. Oops. No. You can skip this part. You can also read this. It doesn't take more than 10 minutes. Okay, I'll send you WhatsApp message. And very simple questions. You can all be answering. That makes it a little more interesting. This is like monotonous right now. I feel. I want all of you to express yourself freely. And okay, very nice. Thank you all for joining today. So we'll end the class here. It's almost 6:25. Thank you all. Hare Krishna. And I hope and wish that you all take a few minutes every single day and chant Hare Krishna mantra. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. హలో అనియా,
వస్తున్నా
ఏం చేస్తున్నారా?
లాస్ట్ సండే హైదరాబాద్ వెళ్ళాను రా.
అదే నువ్వు మిస్ అయ్యావు.
శనివారం హైదరాబాద్ వెళ్ళాను. రిటర్న్ లో ఆ టైంలో ఫ్లైట్ లో ఉన్నా అనమాట. అదే దరిద్రం, వచ్చిన తర్వాత నుంచి సివియర్ హెడేక్ ఉంది. డాక్టర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్తే అది కూడా ఒక సిమ్టమే